Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your Vibe Mentor. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you today, completely unscripted and following the divine's lead, which is a beautiful new way that we are handling the channel. I hope you are enjoying it. Unedited, raw, live, well, not live, but in real time for me. So life is picking up pace. Have you noticed? It is a bit I don't want to say insane. It's fun. I think it's exciting. It's um, can be nerve-wracking if you're resistant to change. I personally love change, so this is a really exciting time. Then the world is shifting and things are changing right before our very eyes in real time, split second pace, and it is really exciting. Um, Things can seem a little uncertain if you are not enjoying change or if you're the kind of person who clings to the past. So I do want to acknowledge you and give you some tips and tricks today on how to work with what is coming up for you. There is a sense of the world splitting. Right? I always use this hand gesture when I imagine sort of the old earth separating from the new earth. And there is an element of loss in that. It is so beautiful to be on your highest timeline and moving towards your highest expression and helping to create heaven on earth and enjoying the fruits of your labor and seeing the evidence of how life actually is working for you and how the divine actually does have a beautiful plan for your life. And yet at the same time, there can be a sense of loss. There can be a grieving process that is required, not just for the loss of the old life or the old way of being or the old identity, but in some cases, there are some people who won't be able to come along with us. And back in June, we experienced this, and now it's coming back around where it was almost like the June timeframe. It was kind of an extraction, and then we kind of snapped back a little bit, and now we're being pulled out again. And it feels like this time is going to be a bit more permanent. And with that, with the changes in general, whether it's the loss of identity, the loss of loved ones, or even just the shifts and changes, uncertainty and new states of being, new places of living can be triggering. It can be scary. The uncertainty, the unknown is very difficult for the ego, especially difficult for the brain when it is used to looking to the past to project on the future how the future will go. And so we have to let go of that. We have to let go of the anticipation of problem. If you're new here, I talk a lot about complex trauma and how that changes the brain and body. Many of us conscious, aware, heart-led beings are on a path that included a difficult childhood. And so when we experience it could be outright abuse. It could just be not having your needs met. It could not be, it could be that your needs were not met through not being seen, heard, loved, cared for, or feeling safe for an extended period of time. And so if you experienced a difficult childhood or a toxic relationship at any point in your life, these kinds of changes can be very scary because the brain is designed to look for threat, and if we're in our unhealed state, we have a propensity to see threat where there isn't any. So if you're already in that state and you're about to approach big shifts and changes like world splitting, which is pretty darn big, that can be very triggering. And there's so much beautiful information. I'm so excited for what I have to bring through for you guys in the very near future. So stay tuned. But I have been digging deep through my neuroscience and trauma program and bridging into the PhD program with a research topic of understanding how the body keeps a score. What is the mechanism? Why is it that the cells and the tissues of the body, or how is it that the cells of the tissues of the body hold memory and what is coming to light? We know fascia. We've talked about that. We've also talked a little bit about blood and lymph and the cells of your body and cellular memory and DNA and generational trauma, things of that nature. But what's coming to light is the plasma, because the plasma is in the lymph and in the blood and in the fascia. And so plasma has something called proto-consciousness, or essentially it has its own consciousness. And so there's so many interesting pieces of information. I'm not going to go any deeper into that, other than I'll tease you with the fact that it's very similar to mycelium, the networks of mushrooms. So really, you gotta subscribe, because this is going to be freaking huge. Like, my whole body's excited. But the body is the key. The body is the way that we navigate this new world, this new transition, and the triggers that are being activated in the process of transitioning from the old to the new. So really get in touch with your body. Let your body be your best friend next to the divine, of course. And the divine is in the body. And of course, consciousness is the divine. So that's a whole nother conversation. But really start to embrace a new perspective around your body. We are out with that old statement of the meat suit, right? We love our body no matter what it looks like. It's not about what it looks like. It's really such a beautiful gift, because the body is a divine vessel. It's kind of like the mother that nurtures and holds your soul, makes it possible for you to be here in this experience. And yes, in our unhealed trauma, it can really suck to feel. The body does make it possible for feeling, and we have a tendency to blame the body for the difficult feelings, but that really is not the source of our issue. The body is, I can't even find words. There's just such a tremendous, profound, invaluable gift that we have been gifted to seat our soul in, if you will. And the body is designed as a communication mechanism. We are basically like giant crystals. We are conducting energy. We are receiving downloads. We are receiving and exchanging information all of the time. Our body is constantly communicating and moving through energy, which is fun to kind of do towards the camera, so you can receive a little bit of my energy right now. Not necessarily doing that intentionally, but I am very much following what the guidance is saying. So this is a fun new method of delivery for me, so I hope you are enjoying it. I'm sorry if you don't. Sorry, not sorry. But anyways, our bodies are designed to be that communication mechanism that receives the divine guidance and leads us. And when we become heart-led and we tap into the body, we're listening to and activating and allowing the activation, or facilitating the activation of that consciousness that is in our fascia and in our cells of our bodies. Now, this is kind of twofold. And this is the beauty of trauma spotting, is it's not just about healing. And this is where I'm getting excited, because it's not always awesome to be a trauma healer. I don't really want to work in the shadows all the time. I'm actually a very optimistic, positive person, and I love getting excited about life and encouraging you about the beautiful things that are coming. And so it's really cool to come to the understanding that trauma spotting is not just about spotting your trauma and healing that, but it really is about expansion. It's about ascension. It's about growth and reaching your highest timeline and becoming all that you are capable of being. And so when we have these traumas, these unhealed wounds in our bodies, essentially it's like an open stress response that has not been closed. So we got to close that loop. And as we close those loops, we are working with the consciousness in the fascia of the body and the all the other parts of the body. Consciousness can be in your organs. You have neurons in your heart and your gut, and that's a whole video for another day. But point being, as we work with these triggers, as we set intentions to embrace the divine's will for our life and to move down the path that is being opened for us, you might find, for me as an example, I'm moving in a very unexpected direction. Yes, there was a dream back in May about North Carolina, and somehow I'm steps away from actually doing this. And my little 3-year-old is terrified, right? She was alone a lot, and she was alone more than she should have been. And so she's afraid of being lonely in a new place. And my 5-year-old is very scared of doing something wrong. There's people not really excited about my decision and not super supportive. And it is scary for my 5-year-old, who was constantly berated for being a sinner by her pastor father. So she's terrified of doing something wrong or being bad, right? And then the 16-year-old who was on her own and had to somehow figure out how to support herself at 16 years old, who rented an apartment in an upstairs loft area of an elder lady's house. she didn't have any clothes. Well, she had clothes. She didn't have blankets. I'm sorry. She had clothes, blankets, a plate and a cup and a cardboard box to eat on. And that was it. She didn't have a lot of stuff. So the part of me that says, you know what, we're just going to get rid of everything and we're going to make it easy to just go, that scares her. So notice these triggers that are coming up. They're parts of you that historically for me would have grabbed that steering wheel of life and said, oh, no, you don't. And they would have gone right back to comfort, and we would have shut the door on any opportunity. We would have rejected any possibilities of this being even an option. And that's not happening because of the trauma spotting work. Because when you have such a visceral somatic meaning bodily response, maybe your nervous system shakes or you just completely shut down, you're not able to move past that glass ceiling that is your unhealed wounds and trauma that are running your life, that are controlling your life. And only now, because I have done that work, am I able to alleviate the body of the energy that it takes to hold these traumas in the body. And also, because that energy is no longer going towards managing traumas, I have the capacity to hold myself and these little parts through what could be a rattling of our world. And it is such a beautiful gift to be able to get your brain and your mind out of the way and let the body do what it knows how to do, which is heal, and let the divine that is in your consciousness, in your fascia and your cells and your muscles and your DNA to do the work that it knows how to do. You don't have to do anything. And this is the beautiful gift that is life, is the divine actually does have a good plan for your life. You don't have to suffer. It doesn't have to be difficult. It actually becomes easier than ever. That living in that control and that perfectionism and the forcing and the egoic consciousness that wants to make things happen, that's the hard part. Yeah, it's hard when people are upset with you. I feel their energy coming towards me. But I now recognize that their judgment or their criticism or their abandoning me doesn't have anything to do with me. In fact, what they judge in me is what they judge in themselves. And so I can love them from afar and see their wounding and see what drives them. And in some cases, I very silently say, you're welcome for the trigger, and I still love you anyways. And that can be enough. And I'm here as an example, being vulnerable, going off script, allowing the divine to lead this conversation so that you can see if it's possible for me, it's possible for you. There's something called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Scoring System. And to have a high score is not a good thing. It's not something you brag about. And so I have an 8 out of 10. And that means there's only 2 different types of traumas that I didn't experience. I experienced 8 out of 10 of them. And again, that's not something to brag about. What that should tell you is, in my lowest of lows, I was completely non-functional. I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't think life was worth living. I certainly wasn't shining my light. I certainly wasn't helping people. I certainly wasn't being a good mother or able to partner with anyone. Very much stuck in isolation and a job I didn't like, and a dark night of the soul, and a belief that life was never going to get any better. And yet here I am, thriving, helping people, growing, expanding, and receiving, most importantly, gifts beyond my wildest dreams. Truly. It just keeps getting better and better and better. So remember, the divine does not need to punish you to teach you. You do not have to suffer to ascend. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can flow. It can be easy. You can realize the guidance of the desires of your heart was put there for a reason, to lead you towards your purpose, which is thriving, because the tide rises all boats. The divine needs you to receive, to be able to be of benefit to the greater whole. And so now, as I shine, as I grow, as I expand and live my conscious, authentic life, yeah, I'm going to trigger people, but I'm also going to give you permission, and I'm going to help you see it's possible for you. So notice, resistance is futile. We will get to this place one way or the other. It's just really a question of how much suffering you want to cause yourself to experience in the meantime. If you struggle with healing trauma, or you're struggling with these changes that are coming up, you're struggling with finding your purpose or letting go of control, that is what I'm here for. That's why I developed the More Than Enough Mastermind through Trauma Spotting, where we meet weekly. You have got a course and one-to-one coaching. that you've got everything you need. I can show you how to do this. I can promise you that. Trauma spotting was a gift from the divine that has allowed me to help hundreds of people heal trauma at this point and step into their life purpose. So I know it can work for you. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, comment below, like, share, and subscribe if you know anybody that could benefit of this. And I will see you on the next one. Namaste.